My tea's stone cold, I'm wondering why I got out of.
All right, we're here with Chuck Carpenter, a legend in the reffing world.
You become a legend, of course, when you are there a long time. I think this is something like my 30th season.
That's amazing, man. Chuck, tell us a little bit about your story. I know the whole wrestling world has seen you out here, reffing, coaching, putting your kids through wrestling, but I want people to know a little bit about you.
So I started wrestling in like 5th grade, and I wrestled out of California. And then I wrestled through high school, did the freestyle, Greco, folk style, everything. And then I went to college, and I walked on at a Division I program that was really good at the time. Then they cut the program, and then I started, when I finished college, I came and I coached at Arlington Bowie High School, and that was in the 90s, 1996. And I coached there, and it was really great. Then I coached a smaller private school. Coached at that private school for about 3 or 4 years, and then a larger private school I coached at Second Baptist, and then from there I started having my children. So Zachary, of course, he came along, and at about 6 years old he started, and that's when the Sci Fair program, if you remember that far back, that's when the Sci Fair program started in Houston. Yep. And so all those kids that have gone up through that program are now graduated in college. Of course, Zachary now has graduated college, and he went to California Baptist, wrestled there for a couple of years, and then, of course, Grayson is 5 years behind him, and Grayson went all the way through. As a matter of fact, it's kind of neat. He's over there officiating even right now.
Oh, so, that's amazing.
My boys, of course, they officiated with me for since they were about 13, 14 years old.
So I always wanted to ask you is, why? Why do you keep doing this? How does this fit into your life?
So, even when I was raising my sons, and my daughters for that matter, I always ask the question, what is the best way to disciple them? What is the best way to give them the kind of instilling of any kind of values that I would want? And I think that wrestling does that. They can't say, I didn't do it because of someone else. There's never that moment. So it was neat that I got to understand the sport really well and help them with it. I've never been a yeller dad, on the side of the mat. My sons have gone through it. I've always just cheered them on, and they enjoy the sport. They would have burnt out and not continued on if, you're just someone who stays on them all the time. And so even when the kids would say, Dad, I don't want to wrestle or whatever, I'd say, well, have you got something else to actually discipline your mind, your body for? Because I'm all for it if you have something else.
Yeah.
For that matter, if you want to do any other thing, it's fine, but you have to make sure that they actually fulfill that responsibility, where they're actually disciplining your mind and your body.
I think that's a great message for all y'all parents that are starting or even in the middle, because I was guilty of that myself, yelling at the kids and being mad, and nobody's getting recruited. It's all about the experiences. It's all about the experiences and the what you get out of wrestling.
Yeah.
I see that now, and it hurts my heart, because I did that to my kids, and it's like, man, you can't do that. Like,
no, and it's interesting because when you start having that as a habit of yelling at your kids on the mat or yelling, you're never going to be able to cut that off, and then go home and you're going to think that their whole world is undisciplined, their whole world is whatever. So if you actually realize that it's something they have to grow into, they're growing every step of the way. And so, is it okay to be upset? Sure, but you don't be upset because they're not hitting a single leg right. You get upset because they might be actually, their integrity might not be intact, because of what they're doing. So if they're cheating in one thing, then you might want to say, hey man, your integrity's showing. So that's what we would say all the time. And as a matter of fact, even Zachary, I remember one time he asked me what integrity was, and I said, the ability to go straight, doing the very things that you're supposed to do. And I remember one time he brought a Matchbox car up to my, I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he brought a Matchbox car up to me, and he goes, Dad, this car doesn't have any integrity. So I thought, okay, then we actually have to understand that a little bit more deeply, but it was wonderful that he actually understood that integrity is actually going straight, going in the direction that you've been meant to go. So
that's amazing. And it's not only for the kids, it's for the refs too, because I know we all get upset. We all get upset at the refs for calls, but they're just human too. And it's, you know, until you're in that position, you don't realize how much of a job they do.
And we miss things often. And even when I told a parent today, I said, look, if you're going to show me a video, that's wonderful, because then I get to teach my refs whatever, but I can't change something.
Yeah.
And so, of course, they didn't like that. They wanted me to change something, but the reality is that something did change. Of course, I got to go tell my ref, hey, you might consider doing, this. And he took that very well, and everything's moving out right. So it was good for everybody.
So, you being from outside of Texas, of course, Texas is your home. It has been for a long time now. But what do you see in Texas wrestling? What direction are we going?
Well, the thing it is that, years ago you would not have, grandpas and dads and sons actually wrestling. You would only see sons wrestling. Dads would get involved because their sons would get involved. But in California, in Pennsylvania, in Ohio, and all this, you have like generations of people wrestling. So it's just something that I mean, it's not something you think in terms of like, Thanksgiving, for example. Thanksgiving, wrestlers understand that's not a great holiday for them because they can't eat the way they want to eat. Well, if you've been doing it for generations, it's not something you really talk about. That's just something you do. And so the interesting part about it is that goes with everything. Everybody, if you go through a generation of it, everybody knows that, okay, this is what we do during this time. So one thing I didn't know is in California, when we would actually have people that were generations through it, there was never an argument, there was never a question, because that's just what wrestlers do. And I think with Texas wrestling, I have now, weirdly enough, because I referee from the littlest kids to college, and the neat thing is I see the kids I refereed 15 years ago, they're actually the kids I'm refereeing now in college, and so it's really fun to see that. So I'm seeing that there's an ability for generations to come up through, and so I see some really big promise in Texas wrestling because you're going to see generations coming. The other thing too is you have a lot of states that have that as generational, like Oklahoma or whatever, they have it generational, and they're moving down here because they know that Texas has a great lifestyle for everybody. Yep. It's not just in wrestling, it's everything. So you have people coming from a lot of other states that they come in. Matter of fact, we have several Pennsylvania people that are here now, and they're coaching in the Austin area. So it's pretty cool that there's generations of people that are coming in and just instilling in the sports what we lack, and that is this kind of generational wrestler. Yep. And so now we're starting to have that.
That's amazing, man. That's great to hear. What about you've been doing Pan Am National since my kids were little. What do you think is going on here?
Well, one thing is that, like I said about the generational, you see a lot of coaches, a lot of people who direct, they're going to all these other events. Whether it be the Tulsa Nationals or whether it be the RMN events or whether it be other events, and they're seeing, oh, we could do that, oh, we could do this, we could do that. So it's kind of neat that what they're doing, at those places that have generational tournaments, we're looking at going, we could do that because everybody is supportive of it. And so it's neat that everybody is seeing it in essence at the same time. And what's neat is these new parents who are coming in and they're seeing this pizzazz that's going on. They're going, oh, this is what wrestling is? We know, because we've been in it a long time, that that's really not the way it is. It's what it's becoming. And so it's a beautiful thing that Pan Am Nationals used to have, 500-600 kids when, my kids are coming up through. And that was a good tournament. Now we have well over 1,100 coming in at this tournament. And the only thing that's challenging with that is we'll leave very late tonight. And I'll get home very early tomorrow morning. So,
well, Chuck, we all appreciate everything you do, even though we don't show it on the mat on the corner sometimes, but we appreciate what you do, man.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
Thank you for doing everything, brother.
Yeah, thank you.